afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Camino Cafe. Corey and I are so excited today to have Kenneth Strange here with us. And Kenneth is a fellow pilgrim, and he walked the Camino in 2018. And in 2019, he wrote about his journey. And the title of the book is It's Your Camino, One Couple's 500-Mile Pilgrimage Across Spain. So welcome, Kenneth. We're so excited that you accepted our invitation to come to the Camino Cafe today.
Hey, thank you. I'm excited to be here with you today as well.
All right, and you are in sunny California today. It's where you're calling from?
Yeah, it is sunny, little chilly, and it did rain last night. But back to blue skies. How boring!
Yeah, we're both in snow right now. So
Wow, amazing snow. I kind of remember snow. Yeah.
well, I guess we just want to start off with tell us a little bit about your current life, what you're doing, and then take us back to how you first learned of the Camino.
Yeah, certainly. So my background is a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I've been I was a high school teacher at one time of Spanish and English, and I also dabbled in banking in New York City for a little bit of time, and then I became a special agent in the FBI and had a 21-year federal law enforcement career, and in several places in the United States and in Central America. And then I retired in 2010 here in Los Angeles, and I went on to take a few different corporate gigs, if you will. I worked for Siemens, the German company in Mexico City, and I was with Corning Glass in upstate New York, and then finally Amgen Pharmaceuticals out here in Thousand Oaks. So. Yeah. So I got off the corporate treadmill, about 4 years ago, and I decided to have a go at it with my own business as a private investigator in the state of California. Strange Investigations. Although I don't do any X-Files or paranormal investigations. I want to be clear about that. And then of course the Camino came up, and since that time I've turned to writing books. So I've just finished a second book, going into a third book right now. As far as the Camino, hearing about the Camino, so that goes back to really college. And as you may know, I took a junior year abroad in Madrid, Spain. So I would have heard about it back then. But certainly when I read James Michener's Iberia, that iconic book about Spain, there's a whole chapter about the Camino. So yeah, I know I was really interested in doing it. But it's kind of interesting. When I was in Madrid in 1975, that's when Franco was the dictator. 74 pilgrims completed the Camino in that year. 74. Can you believe that?
No.
No, it's just, and then, as you know, when we're doing it, it's several hundred thousand. Right. And when my wife and I did it, it was 327,000 people. Yeah. So just, you see the popularity. It's kind of reliving its golden age.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
So what do you think, when you first heard about it, what intrigued you the most? Because I think the Camino always plants a seed in us, right? And then eventually we're going to go. So what do you think was that special thing that you heard that made you keep that inside all that time until you finally went?
Yeah, again, it's kind of this lifelong love affair with Spain, and I maintain friendships and still maintain friendships from that time to this day. So always been in contact. I've always been visiting Spain, or those people visit me in the United States. So it kind of keeps it alive. But it really wasn't until I had we had a chance encounter with Martin Sheen that this was the final push,
Okay.
because we had been talking about it. Now that I had come off the corporate treadmill, we had a little more time, and my wife was working part-time as a nurse. We started imagining us doing it, and we knew that this window was closing, because we were in our 60s, early 60s, and I've got tendonitis and arthritis in my legs, and so we knew we had to do it. And then we met Martin Sheen, and he was that final push, and we were so grateful for that.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, Martin Sheen in the movie The Way, I think, has been the biggest influence on so many Americans going on the Camino. So, how
Right.
did you have a lucky chance to actually meet him?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we came back from New York to Southern California, we were actually living near Malibu, and there's a Catholic church over there. So we started attending that church, and lo and behold, Martin Sheen, he goes to the same church. But we had just seen him. But then the church group had a volunteer thing going in Mexico, in Tijuana, where they would work with a impoverished poor parish and provide food and toys for the kids, that type of thing. So we drove down, we volunteered, and we drove down to San Diego to the meeting point. And the group said, "Hey, Martin's here today." And I said, "Martin?" And they said, "Yeah, Martin Sheen." And I said, "You're kidding me?" And they said, "No, he's right over there by the McDonald's, standing right there." So I turned, and there he is at the McDonald's. So we said hello, and then funny, going over, we were stuck at the border for maybe about half an hour, with duties, customs, what food do you bring in, what toys. And so I'm, they already know Martin, I don't. So my wife and I are standing with Martin for like half an hour, and he's just telling us story after story, and telling us about the way, and his son Emilio Estevez directing it, and his roots in Spain. And please don't call me Martin, call me Ramon. That's my real name. And okay, Ramon. Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, what a nice man, to be, devoting his time and his money to help these kids. And nobody knew he was there. Kind of very low key,
Yeah.
nice man.
I tell you, almost every story we hear about Martin, it's coming to that. Everybody that has had the opportunity to meet him seems to have a story that just once again demonstrates what a great guy he is. So
Yes, absolutely, he really is.
to hear that.
Yeah.
Wonderful. No, no. Corey, did you want to ask about?
Yeah. So I had a question. I know that you've written a book, and we were curious about how the title came about and what the book is about. If you could just give us an idea about that.
That isn't, Corey, that's another great question. So the book, actually, the title came about because we had started off in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the Pyrenees there, right? And we started off with two British ladies, Helen and Kim, although their names may have been changed in the story. I forget. No, I think they're the same names. But one of them, we would, people were talking about Camino, 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 my Camino, my Camino, my Camino, and everybody seemed to have a different sense of Camino. And of course, it's a personal journey, right? But one person's Camino is not another person's Camino. And we met, for example, one or two Spanish men in the beginning that said the Camino to us is, how we can get to Santiago as fast as we can get there. We're going to break the record we did last year. We did it last year in 26 days. Well, we're going to try 25. So, that was their goal. And then, we found other people that were kind of trying to find themselves on the Camino or lose themselves on the Camino. There was a father and son that were together, but they weren't together because the father had his own idea of the Camino, and the son, and not until the son got injured did the son really enjoy the Camino, because he said goodbye to his father. And the father took off and said, "Son, I'll see you. I need to get there. I must get there." And now the son was there, and he took out his camera, and he said, "I started to really fall in love with the Camino. I was by myself. I wasn't with my dad type thing. So this one British woman said, in a delightful Kentish accent, and she said, "Oh, it's your Camino. It's how you see fit to do it. If you wanted to speed walk it, or take 2 months and do it, or take a taxi on one stretch if you needed to, that type of thing. It's still your Camino, and no one can judge you on that." So that's where the title kind of came from.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that perspective. I know there's a lot of people that have certain perceptions out there that it needs to look a certain way or be a certain way, and it's going to be an individual experience for each person. And I really love how all-encompassing your book title is, because it really is your own Camino, and it will be that. So I really love that. Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure. Yeah, I love talking about it. But and again, just going back to Martin Sheen, he also played a part in the book, because and the book kind of it wrote itself. It really did, because I decided I didn't go into it thinking I would write a book. I really didn't. But as I took notes, kind of like as if you're writing a diary, and I'd take a photo or two, and then I would put it on social media, and I got a lot of nice feedback from the photos and from these little sayings, and I was receiving inspiration by everything I saw and felt. So that's where the book, I said, you know what, and then I came back and I had all this stuff written and photos, and I said, now's the time to do this. So I kind of locked myself away in my room kind of for about 4 months, and a lot of research, more research than I could ever imagine. I got involved with 2 authors who kind of guided me through the process. I joined a critique corner club where other authors would critique my work. I met a very nice man who was from LA, is a screenwriter and had done the Camino. And he said, "Ken, let me give you a tip here. I mean, you could take this and you could make it much better if maybe you think about that, make it." And I took that to heart, and I think it really made a difference. And then when we got back, we couldn't wait to tell Martin about, what had happened. And I had a manuscript for him, and I thought, my wife said, "Don't do it. He's so busy. He's doing Frankie and Johnny, the series on TV, and he'll be too busy." And I said, "Well, he can always say no, right?" So I said, "Martin, I did this manuscript, and would you take a look at it?" And he really surprised us, and he said, "I would love to. I'd love to do that." So handed him the manuscript, and about a week later, because he could have taken it and sat on it for years, right? Because he's a movie star. But about a week later, I got a call in the gym, and it was him, that Martin Sheen voice on the phone. And he said, "Wow, this is special. I really love this. What can I do for you?" I know. Yeah, I have a. And so I asked him if he would do a cover quote, a blurb, and he said, "Sure, absolutely." And again, he's busy. We don't know. Okay, you say you're going to do it, but. And then about a week later, after that, a beautiful handwritten letter came to the address, and there was a list, beautiful handwriting. And he said, "Ken, here's a cover quote, several cover quotes. So use any of them or all of them together as you like." So that's how it kind of came out.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Really
Yeah,
cool.
I was surprised for sure.
Well,
That's really
I'm always very curious about, when I walked my Camino, I was processing the ending of a marriage. And I would often think when I was out there, how different my Camino. I'd always imagined we would do it together, right? And so by the time I got there, some days I would imagine, what would it be like if he were here,
Yes, yes.
that I'm here by myself. And so I'm just curious, a couple of questions for you is, how long had you been married before you started this? Did you have to talk your wife into it? And then what was the advantage or disadvantage? How do you think your Camino was shaped by being there with a spouse, in good ways and maybe in ways that maybe weren't?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
someone who-
yeah. Boy, fantastic questions. So, when we decided to do the Camino, I think we had been married about 36, 37 years. But I will, I will tell you this. If you're doing a 500-mile, 31-day journey with your spouse or a significant other, you better be good friends. You better be good friends because, you're going to have to compromise. You know, m- with my wife, she's never met a church or a chapel she doesn't like. And I could care less about those things. I'm into the castle and maybe that huge cathedral and that history to the Spanish Civil War. That's what I'm into. So there was a little compromising on the fly, if you will. Uh, there may have been one or two misunderstandings as well, but that kind of reflects marriage, I think, too, right? But we give each other space, and there were times, when we're on the Camino, we weren't tethered together or like Velcro. She would meet some people and I'd go, thank goodness, meet some ladies, and off they would go. And I'd kind of be by myself or meet a young guy and we'd chat. And so this would, well, you've been there. So it would go on and off like that. So, you know, but again, we have a bunch of stuff in common, Spain for one. Secondly, we've been hiking forever. We love the outdoors. We've been hiking with our kids. We climb hills and mountains in each state we're in. So, we like the outdoors. We had trained for it together, so it became a little easier for us to do it. And I was very proud of her at times, like when we had to go uphill and she was a real trooper, and I was very proud. I said, "Wow, you're really doing it. You're hitting it out of the ballpark today." And then when I was hurting with my knees and I almost gave up, she was with me to say, "Look, I've got some medicine here. We're gonna ice your knees. We're gonna, So I felt I was in good hands that way. So it managed to work out.
Real advantage that she's a nurse.
It helped, and it was nice too because there were, as people are subjected to blisters all along the way, and she actually helped a few pilgrims with their feet, lancing blisters and wrapping them up with different types of band-aids and things like that. So yeah, she was helpful.
Excellent. So did you avoid those fights since there's the arrow and everything always pointing that way, that you didn't have that usual husband and wife fight about asking for directions and not asking?
Well, there were one or two situations like that, and actually, and early on, I took the wrong arrow. I think I ended up plunging deep down into the woods, and this was the first day.
Oh, no.
That going into that deep dark wood, and now it was getting late, and look, we were always the last people. We were like snails. We were always the last people pulling into town. Thank goodness there was plenty of light at the time, but I said we have to follow this arrow, and it took us down into something like hell. And and we're in the forest, and my wife is praying, "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord." And I'm like, "Please, where are we? When are we going to get there? It's getting dark. We're in this forest. Stay cool. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art." Yeah. So that first day was very traumatic.
Oh my goodness. And knowing that you had 30 more days to go.
Yes. Yeah, and really the first few days I almost quit. I came very close to just quitting and saying, you know what, let's just take a bus, or let's just see some of the cities. But we anyway, we kind of just kept going on.
Okay. In what ways have you seen yourself, or even the two of you, transform since you did the Camino together?
Well, again, I didn't go into the Camino with any set agenda, or for me, it was kind of a bucket list, maybe a bucket list type thing. I got to do it, and but I think the transformation came by being out there for the fellow pilgrims and being with them, being there for them. You know, I speak Spanish. If I could translate for the pilgrims, I would do that, and I did that many times. But there was some profound inspiration along the way. We met a blind couple from Minnesota, and they were outdoors people, and they had an app for the blind, and this was on the Meseta, and we were so slow that they almost passed us, if you can believe that. That's how slow we were going. So they said, "Hey, we're the turtles," and I said, "Hi, welcome to the snails." But this would put us together for a day and a half, and we've never spent any real time with blind people. And so it was like a fascinating experience for us, and we learned so much from them. They had raised a family, you know, one was a lawyer, she was a teacher, and so, but really probably the most moving thing for me was we got to a small village, we got to a little stream, a bridge, and he turned to me and he said, "Ken, what do you see? What do you see?" And to this day, I still get very choked up about it, because it hit me. It hit me pretty hard. Like, you know, I've never, you know, I've taken my sight for granted for all these years, and then I realized, you know what, I really need to tell the story here. I need to tell them what this looks like to the best I can. So that was one of the things, I think, and then just sharing it with the pilgrims, the old pilgrims and the new ones that flowed in from Syria, and kind of re-energizing us, and so when we came to the cathedral in the end, I kind of, uh, you know, when we were in the chapel afterwards with the bota fumero swinging, and after that we were in the chapel with other pilgrims, and then the priest said, you know, "Tell us about your Camino." When I got up there, I I went to another planet. And I think I went to heaven, or at least I glimpsed heaven, what I thought was heaven, because everyone in that little chapel turned into an angel to me. And I don't know if it was the emotions and whatever it was a very beautiful experience. And to me, that was kind of life changing. I didn't expect it, and it hit like a ton of bricks.
So good. It's
Wow.
amazing.
What a story there. Kenneth, I think when we're all walking the Camino, there are so many great moments, right?
Yeah.
And we tend to obviously talk a lot about those, but I think it's important as people are preparing to go to know that there will also be some low points. And so I just wonder if you could share with us maybe one low point, maybe the lowest low point, and what you did to overcome that to continue to go on to finish.
Right. So you know, I mentioned the first day was pretty difficult, and you know how difficult that is because it's a long day. You're in the Pyrenees, you're climbing, and of course, with bad knees, um, the climbing was the easy part. It was the descending, and that was, like I said, it was so painful, even with the hiking poles. At that one point, when we took that incorrect path, it was so painful, and you know, anyway, you didn't want to be around me at that point because, and you can imagine years of wanting to do this, and right now you're on the precipice of it's over. You know, you're too late. This is it. You got to admit it. So I think that was a low point right there and right in the beginning. And like I said, talked to my wife. Somehow we got through it. We made it down very gingerly, made it down. We were like almost like on our butts, kind of going down. It was so steep. So that was physically challenging, and the next day as well. So those were points. Those were very low points for us, and they would continue for me because it would nag at me the entire trip. And it wasn't until we got to Syria that I thought we may be able to finish this. So that was a very low point. There was a funny point where we got into the town of Zubiri, and we're always the last ones to get there. And the woman receptionist said, "Well, I'm glad you came because I was going to give away your bunks. So thank you." Of course, she put us at the top of the fourth floor, way at the top. We're lugging all the stuff, and then that and we're exhausted, and we're in there with 12 people, and we all go to sleep, and I just pass out, and I'm into this. I call it a delicious sleep, and then I dream that I'm being shaken, and so I wake up, and it's this pilgrim, a Romanian, and he's shaking me, and he says, "Stop snoring, stop snoring." And I'm like, holy, it's like 2 in the morning. I was sorry. So now I'm up. I'm kind of shocked. I'm staring up, and he goes back to bed, and now I have to go to the bathroom. So I kind of tiptoe out into the bathroom. I come back, the door. Like, okay, there's a little bit of light coming through the door. You hear all these people snoring, right? And stupid me, I see my pants hanging on the bunk. And I said, geez, I should really put the pants on the hook and not on the bed. And so like 3 in the morning, I take the pants, and then I go to put them there, and I forget I have all these coins in the pocket. I'm not going to say any more. I will not. You know exactly what happened after that at 3 in the morning. Those coins, and they were heavy coins. So my fellow pilgrims were not happy.
Oh my goodness.
They
I would do the same thing.
They were not happy. Oh boy. It was kind of funny because my wife and I were separated. And so as we were going to sleep, I looked up at my bunk, and I waved to her across the room, and she kind of waved back at me. And I said, wow, this is really weird, but okay, whatever.
She still acted like she knew you.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my goodness. So we are coming to the end of this interview, although I think we could probably talk to you for much longer. You have great stories. I can only imagine. It really intrigues me to want to read your book and learn more about your journey. And I guess one last question for you. We've gone through so much during the pandemic, and I just wonder what inspiring words you might have for someone who maybe has not had the chance to walk yet. And what would you tell them if the seed has kind of been planted? Should they go when it opens up? And what words would you say to encourage them, or what tip would you have to give them to help them believe that they can finish it?
Yeah, I would just say, go, get out there. I want you to be able to say to other people, buen camino, as they pass you or you pass them. You can do it. If I can do it on bad wheels, if you will, you can do it too. And what I would say is get some good footwear, some decent shoes. There were some people with sneakers out there, and they were suffering, I noticed. But get a good pair of walking shoes, some socks, wool socks, and that's half the battle right there. And I would say if you can train a little bit, maybe a month, 2, 3 months before you go, little hikes, build it up. I think there's no reason why you can't do it. It's worth it. So go.
Love it. Well, thank you so much, Kenneth. This has been just a pleasure for us.
Thank you.
Back anytime to the Camino Cafe. We would love to have you come back and talk more. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we look forward to reading your book. So
thank you. All right. Thanks for having me. Have a great weekend.
Welcome. You too.
All right. Bye-bye now.